Hi everyone. It's day 4 of our vigil, um, fasting from stress. I'm outside my house. I wanted to show you this tree. This is what I call my father tree. That's my neighbor leaving. Um, so you saw my mother tree, and I have a story for these two tree trunks here. My neighbor was cutting some trees down, and there were people who were um, came to clear it up, and I asked them whether I can have one, and they said um, if you take one, it's $10. If you take two, it's free. So there you go. So I sit here and I meditate sometimes. It's nice to sit under this tree and meditate, and I can see the stars and the moon at nighttime. It's very clear sometimes, and so I enjoy it. So I'm going to sit down here for a few minutes, and then we'll go back to my mother tree. So here's our circle of strength. Today we are going to talk about the heart, and in traditional Chinese medicine, we call that the seat of anxiety when it is not in good shape. So during the time of the terrorist attack in Sri Lanka and in all the other countries during that year, 2019, last year, I'm sure this area was having a problem. So we have the lung area on top that more or less feeds into the heart area, and you can see the okay, there was, I thought someone was there. You have your lymph on this side, and you have your and the pancreas, of course, and you also have your liver and gallbladder on this side. So if you notice, look at this cross, and you have it right there in your body. If you can imagine a cross right there, your heart right here, and your diaphragm would come somewhere here. And guess what happens when you are not breathing? It gets stuck. And in Chinese medicine, they say there's a yellow cord, they call it. And in the 21st century, we all are so busy trying to make 6-packs and 8-packs or whatever it is that you want to do. You know, the solar plexus is considered the one you really need to build up. But the point is, it's not about tightening in this time, COVID-19. It's about surrendering. You need to surrender when you can't breathe. I'm not telling you to surrender all the time. Stress is a good thing, but if you or a loved one, whether you have allergies or you end up with COVID-19 where breath seems to be an issue, and you may not be able to take a deep breath. So that's why we're going to do the how to quiet this whole area. Okay, so that's the heart, and the color for that is considered red. You can see it from there. The sound is ha. So when we get back to the mother tree, we will do that. Let's see what else I need to tell you. Just to mention that, of course, the heart also is, the color green in the yoga tradition. And again, heart mind. If you listen to someone like Greg Braden, or if you in the Bible, or if you see pictures of the Jesus or the saints, they're always pointing to this area. Sometimes you see them pointing here or here. So lungs, heart, lungs, heart. And in the Catholic tradition to which I belong to, you say Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So Father right there, and then Son, the heart. So you have that. You have the breath. You have the heart, which would represent the person, and then you have the Holy Spirit, which is actually also the breath. So I need to think about that one. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Okay, so I'll get back to you on that. Again, here's another nice thing. When you cross over, it's supposed to help you to align the left and right side of your brain. So if you don't do anything, like I said, I'm giving you a lot of information, but forget the information. All I want you to do is be quiet, but I'm just kind of feeding your left side of your brain, which is the one that always is looking for stuff. So once that is fed, we can move on to unknowing. Okay, all right, so I'm going back to the backyard to be with the mother tree. But I do want to tell you about my poem. I hope you enjoyed the Our Father, or the Lord's Prayer. I've changed it up a bit. It's a wonderful prayer, and has a personal touch. So do enjoy reading it, and make it your own. It's something that we all need, and you're welcome to share it. So I'm back here at the mother tree. I did want to share something with you. This vigil that I wanted to start 3 years ago, 2016 actually, in July. I was in Sri Lanka. My father was, he had lung cancer for a long time, and he was in the hospital, and my mom was with him, and she fell down and broke her femur. So she was up on one floor, he was in the ICU, and I had the privilege of staying with him the last night that he was here, and he was on a ventilator. So I have personal experience on what that looks like, and the difficulty in breathing, and with my conversations with my father. Over the last 3 years, as I told you, I have a tumor, and I've had to kind of go through and really see why it was there. A lot of lack of self-care when it's related to the breast, in case any women out there who are seeing this. I will be doing videos on hormones in the future, so look for that. But the reason I brought up the father is we sat at the father tree, and I had a lot of difficulty growing up with my father. He had a lot of issues in here, and it was all related to his breath, and a lot of anxiety while he was growing up. He had allergies and those kinds of symptoms. Anyone seeing this out there, you are susceptible to the breathing issue if you get COVID-19. So what to do at that time? I recommend, if you have peppermint at home, you can buy that also. I don't know where I brought that in here, but peppermint is a good, if you have mint leaves, just boil them as a tea and drink it. It's really good for your respiratory system. Nettle leaf is excellent also. This one, you can buy this on Amazon. There's a tapping technique. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's basically when you can't breathe, you go into a more of the similarity between a panic attack and respiratory stress that people maybe will encounter if they have COVID-19. Very similar. So how to calm them? Stay calm. No, that's not going to help. Breathe deeply. That's not going to help either. So you have to understand, a lot of these people may end up in the hospital, but the doctors don't have a lot of people to be standing next to them, assisting them. They put them on the ventilator, they're taking care of other patients. So, prepare yourself with little tools. Even if you have hay fever, it's allergy season right now, even if you have that. So There are a couple of points, and I will put a link in and a picture of the points right here. You tap. These points are all sinus points, particularly this one. This one's really good. These are good ones as well. And if you go to an acupuncturist, they will be doing this. But you know, you're more or less in lockdown, so you can do them under the arms. These are all neuro-lymphatic points, and then on top of the head. So what does this do? Again, more information for you to feed your left side of your brain. Your amygdala, which is part of your brain, is the fight or flight mechanism. I told you about oh my gosh, something's happening, right? Most of the time we are in fight or flight mode. It's called stress. That's what we call it. So sometimes it's good. You can use it for good things, and at other times, like if you're running a race, it's good. If you got to, complete a deadline, use the stress, use the neurotransmitters and the different chemicals that are produced for you to move. But if you're just sitting, mulling everything that is going on and just being fed off the news, or not even the news, you can turn the TV off and all your electronics off. But if you are with other people around you, or your own thoughts can be your biggest enemy sometimes, to create this response, right? So if it does come, we can use these tools to kind of calm us down. The amygdala is the part of the limbic system of the brain that causes you to get into this fight or flight mode. Or so at that time, supposing you were eating at that time, guess what happens? Because what if you were sitting and eating and had the news, or you said, oh my gosh, my friend, someone had COVID-19, or something else, they something small, you did not like the text you read, it immediately works that thing up. And cumulatively throughout the day, if you have that and you eat, remember, when you are in a state of fight or flight, the body, it's not rest and digest. So your digestive system kind of more or less shuts down, because all your energy needs to go to your limbs, because you're like being chased by a tiger. That's what your body thinks. So if you're eating at that time, you are not digesting very well. We are all eating throughout the day if you're under lockdown. I don't know about in your house, but my kids and my family are snacking a lot. So I try to give them some nutritious snacks, but still, if you're in fight or flight and you're eating, not a good thing. So that more or less helps you to get to physically these points in this order. When you do it, apparently it gets you out of fight or flight. Now there are many other methods. You can Nadi Shodhana, which is alternative nostril breathing, just abdominal breathing. But again, abdominal breathing is hard when you can't breathe. You're not going to get to that point. And there's a robin looking at me. Okay, I'm not going to move the camera because it might fall down. So anyway, it is spring, and the birds don't really care whether there's COVID-19 or not. They're just having, although there's this talk about, things jumping from different humans to animals and, all of that stuff. So, okay, enough chit chat. I really like this one. So this is my favorite bear. Well, not my only bear. This one is also a favorite of mine. So why this one? This is my daughter Shanti gave me this, and she made a little thing in here, and she put lavender in there. So this smells really good, and I keep bear in my bed. So why am I having bear here? I wanted to teach you the spinal flush. So someone having COVID-19 or any kind of, never mind COVID-19, someone in your house is looking a little irritable. Know the feeling? Maybe you're irritable. you're irritated with someone, doesn't matter. So call that person or someone else and say, I want a spinal flush, or can I give you a spinal flush, or force them to just turn around. And from the neck down to the back, on either side of the spine, you just kind of press like this, right? First you go down a couple of times and then sweep, and then on the thing. Now don't press too hard. Disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I'm not, don't get in trouble here. But then you go down this way, sweep, call the spinal flush. It's supposed to have saved a lot of marriages. So check that one out, okay? And who taught me that one? Donna Eden. Donna Eden. You can look her up. I'll be doing some videos on some other things on her. I really love her energy medicine work, for women especially, 50, estrogen dominant and all that. So now I have to bring up something, since since we are talking about it is Easter time, and based on my heritage, and I just want to share because this is my experience. So this is one of my teachers, Ted O'Brien. He's a Catholic practicing Qigong, which is controversial for some people, not everyone. But he has written this book, and he, wonderful man. And I'm doing his program. He lives up in Pennsylvania. I've done the first level so far. So why am I showing you this book? Because he kind of combines Christian teaching with Qigong. And so everything depends on who you have in here. You can face everyone, including the devil. If Jesus or God or the divine indwelling is in here, there's nothing else that can enter. So that's why we have the circle of strength, right? That's what we're calling it, the circle of strength. Okay, never mind COVID-19, no one can get in. So check that one out. And this is a Catholic saint. Her name is Saint Dymphna. So she is the saint for nervous and emotionally disturbed. And believe it or not, after this whole thing is over with this whole lockdown, I mean, if you are not emotionally disturbed in some way, you are definitely a saint, because I have had my moments. When I have those moments, I come outside and I stand under this tree, and I breathe in the mother, For me, it's Mary. For you, it may be someone else, Shakti, or, the yin energy, just basically. And by the way, COVID-19 and any other pathogens, they can't really grow in an oxygen-filled environment. And guess what happens when you're with trees? They give us oxygen, we give them carbon dioxide. Really nice symbiotic relationship here. So I wanted to show you that, and I seem to want to show you a lot of things today. Okay. Being from India, I'm Sri Lankan and Indian. My mother's from India. Sandalwood, the best smell. Okay, sandalwood is used by Indians it's a cleansing agent, and it just has a great smell. So you can find sandalwood as an oil, or you can buy them. Sandalwood paste is very good for a moisturizer. Check that one out. And bergamot, very good for respiratory stress. So I'm not telling you to go out there and buy all these oils, but essential oils have been there for centuries. In fact, during Jesus' time, if you remember, the woman who anointed Jesus' feet with oils, she was basically giving him a pedicure. Well, not the nail stuff, but still a good massage, okay? So this is what we did on Holy Thursday, because, we were not in church. We washed each other's feet, and then I gave some pedicures to the ladies in the house. So that was a great fun. We're going to be quiet now, so you know the drill. Did I show you everything? I think so. You know the drill to be quiet. Um, I practice a form of a meditation that's called centering prayer that was started by Thomas Keating. He was a monk. He passed away, but he started Contemplative Outreach, which is a really nice organization that allows, more or less, promotes the contemplative side of Christianity. Something that everyone can actually agree on, really. You know, the tongue is the thing that really causes problem. If you all get together and sit quietly, all solutions. We will find our vaccine and everything else if we do this. 1 minute for ourselves first, because you know, you can't really go out there and help others if you are not feeling good in here. Okay? You need to feel, when I say feeling good, what I mean is not happy, you know, laughing and all of that, because sometimes it's nervous laughter. Anxiety from the heart comes out as nervous laughter. It's just being okay that at this time, with all the challenges that you are facing out there, I'm sharing a moment with you. A long moment, but you know, you have the forward button. But you please share this message with others. Not to be fearful, protecting our kidneys by not being afraid, breathing. I don't know if I shared this during the first video, but the lungs are the place of grief, and this is what is happening. The grief of all the human beings, of Mother Earth, it's all out there. That's why we are being affected at the lung area. So, but the lung is connected to the heart and all the other organs. I mean, this is really where everything happens, okay? Everything's happening over here. So we need to protect ourselves, but not in a fighting way. We surrender into ourselves and be okay with ourselves, and we can help other people. So this I'm going to read from this book while you are quiet. So remember the drill now. I mean, I don't like to make too many changes, because one of the what is good with being like in the military, or if you went to Catholic school or something, they do everything like one after the other, right? So why do they do that? If you practice Bikram yoga, if you go to Catholic mass, it's always the same thing, because then your brain does not have to think too much. You can quickly get into your posture of where you need to be, and then you can be in contemplation quickly. Now, quickly can be, depends on whether you're in Chronos or Kairos. That's a different story, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So sit for a few minutes, or lie down, stand. I don't know, maybe you're cooking when you're reading this message, or driving, probably not the best thing. I am hoping that you will look at my messages at night, when you've had your full day. So do an examine, just think about what happened today and what is causing some anxiety for you. Anything. So anxiety is just a response, but what is worrying you? So the anxiety, the worry, what is it? So bring that up, because you need to bring it up in order to release it. It's like being a cow, you know, you regurgitate and finally get rid of it. So that was not a good example during meditation, but pardon me. So I hope that you are comfortable, and I'm going to read from this book by Maureen Conroy, and she is talking about the different, the story of God's heart, right? We're talking about the heart, and again, disclaimer, the word God, take it for what it is. It's not as bad as you think it is, okay? There is the beloved in here. You need to find him, her, whatever you want to call the entity, and let yourself be loved for this minute, right? So what is the, before you get into the feeling loved part, I'm trying to regurgitate, I'm trying to bring up a few more things here. So what is happening right now is the heart weeping, pleading with no response, languishing unrelentingly in love, yearning to nurture arid land, longing to enflesh hearts of stone, groaning inconsolably in desolation, hurting from rejecting hearts, drowning in tears of vulnerability. This is your God. This is the one in there who's feeling this. This is our anxiety that we are feeling. And what he might say from Matthew 23, how often I have yearned to gather you as a mother bird gathers her young under her wings, but you refused me. How do we refuse him or her? We are anxious, close up. Then, or when we cannot breathe, we become anxious. So when you cannot breathe, this is the normal thing to get into this position. So what are you going to do? If you can remember, tap, you can do the spinal flush, right? Those are things that you can use. You can really work on these areas, and you can hold the person like here, right? And help them to breathe. Okay, so this is the breathlessness part. There are other areas of COVID-19 that are an issue. The coughing, the sore throat. That bergamot is really good for the sore throat. But hey, if you're from India or Sri Lanka, you know about salt water. Gargling with warm salt water, excellent for the throat. So here's another thing that also from Mark 7:6. This people pay me lip service, but their heart is far from me. Empty is the reverence they do me, because they teach as dogmas mere human precepts. So if I tell you something and it sounds like a dogma, no, don't use it. It has to resonate with you. The truth is the truth, no matter in what language you get it, whether it's from Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Buddhism. The bottom line is this, okay? You have, okay, I'm not an authority, so I can't say it like that, but this is my experience. If you want to fight someone, you don't do it from behind. You don't go and attack people when they are vulnerable in their churches, in their mosques, in their places of work, in their homes. Just don't do that. If you want to face the enemy, or if you are wanting to have a fight, face me on the mat from martial arts or yoga. But face me, you know. You'll have a poem from me with David and Goliath in another video, but don't be behind me. Don't do these kinds of things. This is not helpful at all. So let's be quiet now. Put your hands on your lungs. I'm not saying the heart, just because I think you can feel the breathing a little easier up here, considering we're all shallow breathers. But those who can really bring the breath down into the belly, you can also put one hand on the belly. I like to keep them up here. And I'm going to do the sound shh, if you remember that one. So we inhale. Oh, let me first give you the 10 seconds. I hope you found out your thing that you are anxious about. So we're going to purge that. So inhale a white light and exhale the sound shh. Inhale, exhale. And do that a couple of times. Now let's go to the heart, color red, and the sound is ha. I've told you about sound and the power of sound. you know the sound Om, A-U-M. It's not really Om, but O-H-M, which is a measurement for electricity. But A-U-M, Om, that sound, it more or less is supposed to be the sound of the universe. But maybe you don't want to say that. You can say Ha, okay? So this is traditional Chinese medicine, Qigong tradition actually, I should say. You say Ha for the heart. So inhale, Ha. Feel that vibration in your heart, that whole area, that vibration, your cells feel it. And it more or less removes that sense of anxiety. You see that? My voice doesn't want to do it today either. So once was enough. You continue. You can turn off the video and then continue and do a couple more times. So slowly open your eyes. So now you have 3 things to try at any time: anxiety, the heart. If you are feeling sad, especially with the things that you're hearing, or something that has happened in your life, you can use the breath and with the lungs. And yesterday we talked about fear. So the vertical plane, from here to your perineum, in the Qigong tradition, there's a they call it a pole, and it has a white light around it. So, and I was just thinking about the chakra system, you know, the basic 7, and then there's more of them. I haven't studied all of them, but it's the same concept. It's your spine and your brain, and that's more or less your nervous system. So that's what we're talking about, your nervous system. You calm your nervous system down, you more or less are going to have a better immune function and be able to handle any kind of stress in your life. So I thank you for watching. I thank you for participating in this vigil with me. Have a great night or morning, whatever you're watching, whatever time you're watching. And I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is day 5, and tomorrow we are going to go to the liver. Saint Raphael is guardian, the archangel for health, and that's your liver and your gallbladder, anger, resentment. And if you are not feeling that, excellent, you are blessed and you've really found yourself. But for me, that comes up often. So have a great night.